interface means it's a contract between two endpoints, service provider point and service receiver point. Service provider point, what it is saying, service provider is saying, this is what I am offering the services to you. Service receiver point, this is what I am consuming the services from the provider point. So it's a, whatever the class you are going to write it, that class is going to define. So these are the services is having. So if you wanted to be use the services, I'm just defining the service information. If you want your implementation, you can do it your side. But this is what everyone is going to be follow the same kind of method signatures. Okay, so such kind of limitations will going to be applied at interface level. So interface level, it's don't have any implementation. Okay, all are concrete methods. Okay, so all our concrete methods will be having in interface. So let's see that one example here. Let's erase this one. So when you are going to talking about interface, it will be having a keyword that is interface. So if you remember earlier, we are using class my class. So whatever the classes you are going to write it, you are writing like this. But interfaces, instead of class, you have to be write interface. So interface will be having all our concrete methods. Okay, so concrete methods means, let's take public. Just we seen that concrete method how it will be. Public void my method. Let's take it as a one. So like this, it's going to be defined. Another method, my method two. There is no implementation. Just now I told that there is no implementation. If you write some implementation like this, statement one, this kind of behavior is not going to be accept in interface, because implementation will not be allowed in interface level. It's just declaring your methods. Sorry. So public void my method 2. You see the abstract class, what we did, we applied abstract to the my class and methods also. But interface, you don't need to be apply abstract to the method level. Whatever the interface you are going to write it, by default it apply abstract. So internally how it will be the same thing. Whatever you wrote like this, internally Java is going to treat it as abstract abstract. So like this, internally Java is going to be considered. If you write this way, internally Java is going to think this approach. You don't need to be specifically means explicitly apply abstract it here. So by default we'll apply abstract keyword to the method. Whenever abstract keyword is applied to the method, that means you need to be provide the implementation. Whoever childs are using this my class, they should provide the implementation. If they are not providing the implementation, their class also needs to change abstract class. Okay, so that is one thing. If you go back to the interface here, to achieve multiple inheritance, we will see that example after a few minutes later. We can use interface. We need to use interface keyword. Just we see that interface keyword to the, instead of class we need to change interface. That is the keyword. Whoever is using this interface my class, they should use implements keyword, not extend. So when you are dealing with the classes, okay, parent to child relation, if you wanted to be apply, at the time you need to use extend keyword. When you are dealing with interfaces, so at the time you need to be use implement keyword. So If you apply implement, that means you are getting information from interface. Okay, this keyword you should remember when you are going to see this implements keyword. That means the parent is related to the interface. Okay, and interface is having all concrete methods. There is no normal methods. And variables, if you see the variable, let's take, if you write it as a int a is equal to 90, so it looks normal. Okay, but internally how it is going to be applied, so whatever int a is equal to 90, it will be applied as public static final. Okay, public static final. Okay, this will be applied by default. If you simply write int a is equal to 90 in the interface, automatically it will be a static final is applied. So this is the internal Java is going to be treated, whatever the interface you wrote. Okay, so that is the one thing. And another thing is there is no constructor inside. Okay, so if you write any constructor and it's don't apply any abstract or something related information. So that is also keep in mind that. So interfaces initialization, like whatever the value you are going to write it here, a is equal to 90. If you write like this int a, so then compile time error will come. Okay, because just we seen that internally Java is going to consider this way wherever you are going to use the final. So final keyword, if you are applying to the variables, definitely you should assign the assign the value. Okay, so this value if you are not assigning, then compile time error will come. So that is the reason if you write like this compiler time error you can get it. So you have to be apply a value for that. Okay, so that is the interface. The advantages, if you see, you can get the security. The next thing is enhancement and maintainability. Okay, so after rejoin we will see the program. Once let's get rejoin because we are almost end of the time. So let's rejoin, then we will see interface program. Okay, okay, we'll start now. So now I'm going to write an interface. So to write the interface, if you see, initially, so far we are using Java class. So if you click on that Java class, there is a class. This is what we use so far. Now we are using interface. This is another one. This we will use it. If you see that this one we are going to use to create the interface. So now you have to provide some name for that. So I'm going to provide some, just take it as a my interface. So if you click enter, See here, public interface, my interface. So interface, wherever you see that, it is simply having all concrete methods and the final variables. Okay, so before that, let's try to create one constructor, my interface. What will be happen? See this one. If you try to write any constructor, you will get a compile time error. That means sorry, interface don't have any constructor. Okay, so that is one thing you should keep in mind. Just removing that. So public void my method one. So if you try to give the implementation inside interface, that is also not possible. Okay, so let's put it this as a concrete method. See, there is no issue with that. Public void my method 2. See, you can write n number of methods, there is no harm to that, but internally it will apply like this, abstract. See, there is no difference in between. See, abstract, if you apply, no compilation. If you're not applying, no compilation issues. So that means either you apply abstract to the method or not, there is no need to explicitly give it abstract keyword to the method. By default, Java is going to apply abstract keyword to the method. Okay, if I'm going to use any of the variable int a, this, so let's put it only a. See here, it's getting compilation error because internally it will be apply this final and static. That is the reason it is asking for value. You need to initialize the value. See here, variable a might not have been initialized. Okay, you see here, variable a might not have been initialized. So that means initialization is mandatory when you are going to use any variables inside the interface. So let's put it some value as 9000. So now whoever is using this, they should provide the implementation. Okay, let's create another class with the implementation because this is the interface. Okay, so this time we need to use class to the child. Okay, so now interface, I'm just giving as a child class. So this one, whatever you have, let's create, one second. So here, public class interface, whatever the interface child class. Initially we were using extend keyword. Let's try to access with extend whatever my interface class. See here, I'm getting compilation issue because my interface is interface. You should not call interfaces with extend keyword. To call this interfaces, what you need to do, you have to use implement. See there is no issue with that, but this issue is different. What it is saying, see here, class interface child class must either be declare abstract or implement abstract methods. So my method one in interface, so that means whatever the methods is coming from the parent which are abstract, you should implement. If you are not going to implement, you need to be at least provide abstract to the class, then this issue is going to be get rid of. So what I'm going to now, I'm just click on this implement. See, this my method 1, my method 2 is coming from parent, so that you need to be applied. So here my method 1, my method 2 has to implement. If you open and close braces, that means Java will consider as a you are providing implementation for that. Okay, let's put it some print statement. So my method 1. So similarly, I'm going to write it another one, sys out my method 2. Okay, so these two implementations is providing from child class. Okay, so let's try to add one more class here. So I have a father class. If you see this father class, if you see this father class, this class is having house method and some variables a is equal to 10 and two string method is there. So here two implementations are there. So if I try to access that two into this class, so here let's put it extends father class implements my interface. See, now we are able to get it. First extends, then implement interface. Okay, so let's try to write this program with the static main, public static void main. So when you're going to make the object, so here you can write my interface with the new interface child class. So now my interface dot, see, my method 1 2. Okay, you're not getting further related information. So to get that, what you can do, you can switch it to child class interface child class. Let's change it to interface child class. See, now my method 1, my method 2 is coming from my interface class, house is coming from father class. Okay, so this kind of things you can get it from both. But the same kind of thing, if you use it as extend keyword, that was not possible, because internally what it will be happen. So when you see this example, whatever the program we wrote, father class, okay, and interface class, I guess, just a minute, my interface, my interface, sorry. So these are the two things. So my interface is having one method and father is having house method. So here my method 1 and my method 2. So these two of them, child class is going to be use it. You see, extends and implement. So here my interface child class is the child class. Interface child class is the child class. So this one is going to be use these two services. One is from father, another one is from my interface. So usually this behavior was not applicable when you use both of the classes. So this is class and this is also class if it is. So this behavior is not at all applicable in Java because multiple inheritance. But this scenario, this father class is a class type, my interface is the interface. So then you are not getting any issue to call this approach. So that is what, when you are going to use interfaces, so you can get multiple inheritance ability. Okay, so how you can call this one? So first you need to call with the class information. So how you can get a class inheriting to this child class? You need to be use extends keyword, then father class and interface. Interface, when you are going to call it, you should use implements. So implements my interface. So if you vice versa, like interface first, then extends father class, that is not acceptable. That is not going to be allowing you. So either you need to be use class first, then interface next. Okay, so that approach will be access. So in this approach, whatever you are going to write it, so now you can happily use it, both of them. So whatever father class implementation is having, that you can use it, and my interface is having two methods, right? So those all are abstract methods. You have to provide implementation for my method. So let's put it my method one, some implementation. If I open brace and close brace, that means you provide the implementation. My method 2, so like this. So when you're making the object, okay, let's concentrate on object creation. Okay, so when you're going to create the object, let's create father class, f8 father, new my, sorry, new interface child class. So in this case, father dot, if you try to access it, whatever the father related information, only this information you can see, house of. And if is there any non interface implementation in your child class, that is accessible. But my method 1, my method 2 is not going to be accessed in this approach, because father class is having only house method. This don't have my method 1, my method 2. So that is the reason here only the limitation. You can use only father implementation. Instead of this father, if you are creating with my interface, the same scenario, only you can access my method 1, my method 2. You will not get it house information. So in this scenario, whenever you are going to access it from two different, one is from class, another one is from interface, extend and implement scenario, what you need to do, you have to create object with this one, with the parent. Okay, not the parent, with the child object. Let's put it like this: child object with reference. If you write it, father dot my method 1, father dot my method 2. So you can get it all the information from one from interface, another one from parent. Don't worry about this name. You can give it any name, the reference name. Okay, so either father or mother, whatever it is, that's up to you. This naming you can give it, but object is coming from interface child class. Okay, and you are able to call it both the services, father related information, interface related information into the child class. That is the same thing you are seeing here. Interface, when you make the object, okay, let's see the same. I'm just creating the father class here. If you see, I can get it only house information. I could not able to get it my interface related information. Okay, see, its house is coming from father class. There is no my method 1, my method 2. Even it is having implementation in child class, because my method 1, my method 2 is defined at interface level. That is one of the security you can get it. Whatever you have in the parent, that only you can get it, because this object initialization is coming from child, but ultimately the object created for father class. So then only you can see father information. Now I'm switching to my interface. So my interface, if you see that my interface here, my method 1, my method 2 is there. There is no house related. Okay, so now another father class information is not visible in this one. So to avoid these conflicts, this all conflicts, what you can do, let's make it a child class object. Now see, my method 1 house, my method 2. So all parent father implementation and my interface related implementation, everything is going to be accessed by using child class object. Okay, let's put it my interface here, interface child, my method 2 interface dot house. See, I can able to access all the services, one from class, another one from implementation. So if I print this, just run it, you can see all the services, my method 1, my method 2 and house. So this is internal implementation we did. How about variable now? See here father is having a equal to 10 and interface, my interface is having a is equal to 9000. So if I try to create system.out.println interface dot a, see here it is giving compile time error. So if I run this one, obviously I will get a compile time error. See, this compile time error is both variable a in father class and my interface both are having. So if any of the variable is declared in both, because I am accessing both of them, father class a and interface, both are having the same name, that is the reason it is conflict happened. So now you should tell that who is, means which one I need to call. Do I need to call from father class or my interface? So what I need to do, I just put it father class. So then see, now there is no it's confusion. This you are specifically telling that this a is getting from father class. So this is called it as a typecasting. Okay, so we will learn this concept after some time. If you run this program, you can see the output 10. 10 is coming from here. So the next thing is, if you want to call it from my interface, you need to be change it with my interface. So now if you run this one, you can get it interface related value. So this my method 1, my method 2, one house, 10 and 9000. This 9000 is coming from here. So that is about interface.